the drivers are now gearing up for the start. Can Joseph Reeves-Smith do this from the front row of the grid? Wadley is there beside him. Lask, Barty, Bevan, Hesketh, Roth, Whittingham, Fowler, Sparrow, Page and Bowens, Lane and Witten are all in for the hunt as well. Are we racing? Yes, we are! It's time for the Overtaking final to begin! And Reeves-Smith blasts down to the first corner. Is it going to be a good start from him through turn one? As the field works its way out of Stowe Corner, it is going to be an interesting launch. No drama, no problems through the first couple of corners. So Joe Reeves-Smith still leads the way in front of Lewis Wadley, who remains there in position, but Aaron Lask has nipped by into second place. So a good start from Aaron Lask as they run through on the far side, through Dan Weldon, and it's Reeves-Smith in front. Lask in second. Third place is Lewis Wadley, and the charge of the Light Brigade behind them, absolutely swarming down the straight into the TKM and up towards Kestrel. Through the hairpin at Kimbolton corner. And everybody keeping it nice and tidy. Still a good battle in the offing here. As now up the inside, are we going to see a different change for position? We are. Wadley's there, and also on the inside, Barty trying to come through. Barty commits, and does not get the place. Aaron Lask is keeping him very honest there in third position. Barty tries again. This time he's into third. So a good run from James Barty. He does manage to commit to the move then. So it's Reeves-Smith, Wadley, Barty, Lask, Roth, Fowler up to sixth place. Hesketh, Page is up to eighth. Then Bevan and Sparrow, Bowen, Lane, Whittingham, Witten, Saunders and Smith. A lot of good battles to come in this one. It's a long old race. 14 laps plus the additional, 14 minutes I should say, sorry, plus the additional lap. And Page has dropped down the order. Page has dropped back to about 14th. Not sure what happened there to Alex Page, but he's certainly lost a lot of ground in this one lap as drivers are still going for overtakes. It's one of those now or never situations for the drivers as they continue to charge forward. But there will be plenty of action and drama as the contenders continue on the way. Joe Reeves-Smith and Lewis Wadley from James Barty. Harvey Roth, Aaron Lask is down to fifth place now. Hesketh up to P6 from Joe Fowler. So there is a lot of overtaking still to come in this field. Easily the most competitive and most exciting drivers in this field. We're going to see a lot of them. Here the move from Theo Hesketh. He gets through on Aaron Lask now as well. Louis Bevan is trying to line up a similar overtaking move into Stowe Corner. But there is Barty in front of Harvey Roth. Oh, big shunt right in front of us. A big shunt in front of my position. That's the 56 that's gone straight into the tyres. My goodness, that's Josh Raystrick. Josh Raystrick plows into the tyres on the home straight. Not a lot of time there. And that could potentially bring us under yellow flags. Certainly on the run to the straight, it's brought us to yellows. I think we're going to be okay. But that was a very scary moment indeed as Josh Raystrick is out of the race on the main straight. The race is going to continue, I do believe. But Josh Raystrick is very, very much irritated with that one as he climbs away and walks away from his car. Thank goodness he's okay, because that looked a lot worse than it was. But the race continues on up front. Reeves-Smith, Wadley, Barty, Roth, Hesketh, Lask, Bevan, Fowler, Whittingham, Bowen, Witten, Sparrow, Lane, Saunders and Smith. So a very tricky race. It has one less driver in it with the retirement of Josh Raystrick, but thank goodness he's okay. Because when you're coming into the barriers on the first marshal post on the start-finish line, that is a monstrous accident, and he is very lucky to get away with that. So the race continues. Joe Reeves-Smith in front of Lewis Wadley. Third place for the 34 of James Barty as they continue to battle forward. So a very exciting run as Joe Reeves-Smith is just trying to control the pace at the moment. He doesn't want to rush things. Just getting it nicely together. Technical flag for Sam Johns. So Sam Johns has got a technical flag. That's the 27. Not sure what it is that's brought out the technical flag for him. I wonder if he's got a damage to the chain guard or something along those lines, but certainly something is not quite right. Yellow flags are still present out on the start line because the marshals are still putting the tyre barriers back together. So stationary yellows on the home straight, no overtaking. Now I want to have a look at the 27 of Sam Johns and see what's wrong with his kart that would have given him a technical flag. Can't see him as he's come through actually, so I wonder if he's already pulled in. So indeed, I think Sam Johns has actually pulled in. So this is definitely going to be a very interesting race battle from the front end of the field. Lewis Wadley is just following Joseph Reeve-Smith's every move. He's not rushing this. It's a long race. There's obviously opportunities to continue moving forward. But the battle will continue, and it will be very, very close indeed from the sharp end of the field. Wadley out of the hairpin. Right in behind Joe Reeve-Smith. Still a long race in this. Wadley close up behind Reeve-Smith. Reeve-Smith actually parks the car in the middle of the road initially and then pulls it back over to the left so that he can get a good turn in for the right-hander, but it just shuts down any opposition from Lewis Wadley initially. Just gives him that little bit of psychology, that kind of, you're not going to get past me, you're not going to pass me, you're just going to hold that second place. Fastest lap of the race comes in from Theo Hesketh, 43.05. So Joe Reeve-Smith in front of Lewis Wadley and James Barty, who is about 0.7 of a second back, but there's still a lot of time to go in this one. A good 8 minutes and a half plus the additional lap. So there's still going to be a good overtake or two. As up the inside for 4th position. That is a big, bold move from Theo Hesketh to get past Harvey Roth. And Hesketh is now just a stone's throw away from the podium. If he can catch Barty and pass him, then he is going to be on the rostrum here. And that will be a mega fight back from Theo Hesketh. So still Lewis Wadley hustling in behind Joe Reeve-Smith. Excellent racing so far from this duo. They really have been exceptional all weekend long. They have held good pace. They have watched each other's moves and they have soaked up all the adrenaline. Now they're in the additional opportunity to go for the victory in the Senior O-Plate. It's a big race if you're a TKM driver. It's almost like the British Grand Prix of the sport, the O-Plate. You really want to win this one. It's a badge of honor to carry the O-Plate through the year. And it proves that when the chips are down and all bets are off, you really can fight tooth and nail. Competitors surging through the Stoke corner. Really get a semblance of the speed when you watch the camera on the pit straight. But it's excellent stuff the drivers are giving us at the moment as they run through together. So there is the 3 leading the way. Joe Reeve-Smith just keeping it nice and steady. Don't have to rush this one. Plenty of time. So the competitors continue on their way through, down the straight and up into the laser straight, into the hairpin at Kimbolton corner. A fabulous, fabulous battle. Still about to get going, really, as Lewis Wadley hustles in behind Joe Reeve-Smith, but he's not going for the overtaking move yet. Still got to tick time down. He'll have a timer on his steering wheel, and he'll also have the digiboard on the main straight. He'll figure out how much time there is still to go, and that will give him all the reassurance he needs that he doesn't have to push this too hard. He can just keep it together, just time it right. Aaron Lask is up to 8th place now, and Chris Whitton is up into 9th position as they both made light work of Lee Whittingham on that last part of the lap. But this race could still go anybody's way. They're just taking their time. They're working up to a crescendo as Theo Hesketh tries to keep in front of Harvey Roth. It turns out it's actually quite hard to get close to James Barty. So Theo Hesketh is still about half a second back from him. You can see the gap, and you can also see the differences in the gaps between each driver on the left of your screen. But Joe Reeve-Smith and Lewis Wadley, then James Barty and Theo Hesketh, who's trying to stay in touch. Harvey Roth is 5th, then Bevan, Fowler, Lask, Whitton, Whittingham, Bowen, Lane, Smith, Sparrow, Saunders, Page, Dan and Stockford. So Savage has got through to take that position away. 18th now for him. Joe Stockford down to 19th in front of Theo Tibbets in 20th place. Then the last races running are Megan Lawson, Will Day, Ashton Cox, Stephen Cumbers and Ben Cox. We've lost Isaac Marsh, Sam Johns and Josh Raystrick after a very big accident into the main straight. But fortunately for Raystrick, he is okay. So now the race continues on. Joe Reeve-Smith and Lewis Wadley. 5 minutes to go, plus the additional bonus lap. And it really is going to go down to the wire, the way that Lewis Wadley is hustling Joe Reeve-Smith. Barty is going with them as well now. He's really starting to up his pace, and he is actually catching them. 43.27 for Reeve-Smith, 43.25 for Wadley on the last lap, 43.2 flat for James Barty. He really is stepping up the attack now, and this is going to be a 3-man brawl for the victory. Reeve-Smith, Wadley and Barty. Hesketh is not far in 4th place, but he could really do with a little bit of banter between these three to get himself back into contention for the victory. But once they start pushing, it's anybody's game. Reeve-Smith, Wadley, Barty, Hesketh. And still the racers continue to charge forward. The hard charger award definitely goes the way of Ashton Cox, up 7 places. But Chris Whitton is up 6. And Will Day is up 5. So good work from those drivers today. It's always good just to try and increase your position as much as humanly possible. Into Kestrel come the leaders. Reeve Smith in front of Wadley and Barty. They are almost nose to tail now. Barty's still got a couple of kart legs between himself and his teammate Lewis Wadley. But there's still a long way to go. 3 minutes 50. It's a good 5-6 laps left of this race. And around this place, that's a long way. It's going to be an interesting charge forward. Reeve Smith just holding on to his nerve. He doesn't need to stretch himself here. He doesn't need to push too hard. Just keep it nice and balanced. Further back, we've got a battle for fifth place, is up the inside. That's Louis Bevan getting past Joe Fowler for 5th position. So that is a great run. Harvey Roth, sadly, has now fallen to 9th position behind Zach Bowen. What has happened to Adam Sparrow in this final? He's just disappeared. 14th position at the moment from the man who was a winner earlier on in the day. So a very unfortunate case of affairs for Adam Sparrow. It's just not looking good for him to get the O-plate wrapped up. So now Joe Reeve Smith holding on from Lewis Wadley and James Barty. They come off the turn. 3 minutes to go, plus the additional bonus lap. And 4th place, Theo Hesketh is trying to stay with them. Hesketh is knuckling down. You can just about make him out behind the leading trio as Theo Hesketh is trying to creep into the battle. Here they come. And by the time we get to a couple of laps to go, this is going to be a quartet battling for the victory. And it's going to be a very ferocious one. Reeve Smith, Wadley, Barty, Hesketh. Hesketh's definitely chipping away at this now as they run into the hairpin. Wadley is starting to think about the move on Reeve Smith. Reeve Smith a little bit wide out of the hairpin. This could be the first big chance. Wadley's going to go for the lead into turn 1 at Stowe, and he's there. Now he needs to shut it down on the exit, and he has. Wadley is going to take the lead through to this lap as they come onto the Yamitsu straight. But this is perfect for Wadley, and the gap nearly opens up. Oh, and a slide from Reeve Smith. He tried to go for the move on the inside of Wadley. Wadley slammed the door shut. My goodness, that was a close call for Reeve Smith. That was nearly game over. That's worth another look because Barty was trying to come up the inside of Reeve Smith. He had to bail out of it, and Reeve Smith essentially had to go for a move that wasn't really there for Wadley. Let's have a look. So Barty's tried to go for the move. Reeve Smith is shut down and slammed the door in his face. Is Wadley. So Wadley chopped across there. And Reeve Smith is now down to 3rd as a result in front of Theo Hesketh. My goodness, that was close for Joe Reeve Smith. Barty was trying to get him initially. He chopped across, realised he'd missed his braking point by about half a metre and had to commit to a move on Wadley, really, that wasn't there and ended up getting spat off the curb. So that's going to be put down as a racing incident by the drivers afterwards. But Lewis Wadley now leads the O-plate. 2nd is Barty, 3rd is Reeve Smith, 4th is Hesketh. It's still going to be between these 4, I think. 5th place is Bevan, ahead of Zach Bowen, but they are a little bit far back. Bevan still hanging on. Now that's the 33 creeping into 6th place. That's Chris Whitton. So Joe Fowler down to 8th behind Zach Bowen. Still some good battles for 5th position. A great battle for 5th position in the background. You can just about make it out. Trouble is, if we go to the 5th position battle now, we're going to lose what's happening with the leaders, and that would just be awful if we missed the overtaking moment that we've been waiting for. But Bevan, Whitton, Fowler and Bowen are having just the most exceptional ding-dong for 5th position behind these guys. Check them out as they come into view. Bevan is just about hanging on in front of Whitton, Bowen and Fowler. Then Harvey Roth in 9th, and in 10th place, that is Aaron Lask. Here they come, 5th position. This is not easy to hang on to. Fowler trying to get his move. Reeve Smith is now trying to work with James Barty to close back up to Lewis Wadley. And now time runs to 0. This is it. It's now or never, the penultimate lap. Next lap will be the last one, and Wadley's got a crucial gap over James Barty. But Joseph Reeve Smith can work with James Barty to catch up to Lewis Wadley. They have just about got time, but it's not going to be easy. There are no two ways about that. Reeve Smith is swarming around behind Barty. And that's Barty just keeping his honest there. That's not good news for Reeve Smith. Here comes Hesketh. Hesketh into 3rd. That's really put the kibosh on it for Reeve Smith. Into the last lap we go. And this is now the battle for 2nd. I don't think they're going to catch Wadley in time. Wadley's got the win. Reeves Smith back on the inside of Hesketh, back in a third. And I'm fairly sure that that's it for Lewis Wadley. He's going to take the victory, but second place is going to be heavily disputed now. Joe Reeves-Smith all over the back of James Barty. Theo Hesketh trying to get back onto the podium. Still pushing, still charging. James Barty holds on a second, but fair play to Lewis Wadley. He realises what he's achieved here. He knows that they're never going to catch him. They're too busy battling for second, and Lewis Wadley is going to have this. Reeves-Smith round the outside, Hesketh on the inside, gets the podium. It's Wadley! Lewis Wadley wins it! Barty second, Hesketh third.